right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, the Tipping Point Show.
Hey, what is going on, America? What's going on, America? What's going on, Ohio? What's going on, Tennessee? What is going on, Kentucky, Louisville? It is Mr. Just Ask Joe and my brother from another mother, my co-host, brother, esoteric concept himself, Mr. John Yah. How you doing there, family?
Absolutely awesome. How about yourself today, brother?
Oh, man, I am great. I'm fantastic. It's a beautiful day. Even though the snow was already starting to trickle down here in the Midwest, if that's what we call ourselves, hey, it is still a beautiful day. And today is what? January 15th, 2022. It is the only January 15th, 2022 Saturday that you will ever have in your life. Now, I know that there's some time travelers out there. I do believe in that. And I'm sure that you could probably come back to this day whenever you'd like. But for the rest of us, this is the only time that we will ever experience this specific day. So here at the Tipping Point Show, I'm sure my brother would agree with me. Go out and make it the best day that you can make it. As a matter of fact, try to do something even greater today than you did yesterday. Ain't that right, Brother John?
Yes, sir. Awesome, man. You are absolutely right. You got to look at it by day and make the best of your day. Facts.
Absolutely, man. So today we have a fantastic show for you, a very controversial show for you today, folks. We're going to talk about the sticky, icky. We're going to talk about them trees. We're going to talk about that weed. We're going to talk about when you're on your cell phone talking about them mama's greens, right? We're going to talk about Mary Juana, Miss Mary Jane. We're going to talk about it today, folks. So stay tuned.
Yes, we are.
Stay tuned to the show because we're going to have a great conversation about it. And I'm sure we'll get some callers. And I want to let y'all know, again, 502-776-1350. Again, that's 502-776-1350. You can call in and comment on today's show. You know, if you got something, important you want to talk about, listen, try your best to keep it to today's show comments, all right? But first, man, I've had a great week, and it's interesting, man. I'm really soon. I took a break from Forex trading, but I'm really soon about to get back into the Forex market, doing some trading. But been messing around with some stocks, and like I told you yesterday, brother, I'm about to go hard and grab up like a bunch of penny stocks. Like about to go and buy a bunch of penny stocks because there's some explosions that's going to be happening in 2022, I believe. And I'm just about to, to me, it just makes no sense to go and get 1,000, penny stocks of like each company, 10 different companies out there. You're going to spend $20 or so roughly on some of these companies buying 1,000 stocks. So it's all good. What's on your mind? How was your week, man?
It was awesome. I know you sent me that information about the penny stocks. Very interesting. I definitely will check it out. I had gotten into the penny stocks once before and understood the concept of it, but it was a great week for me, actually. Due to the fact that, let me tell you, let me start this out with this way. You and I started this show almost a year ago. In March, it'll be 1 year. And I think you and I started out actually pouncing against the mandate, pouncing against vaccine and the push on vaccines. Well, we always stood on that Constitution, man. And so just so happens, as we talked, I think it was week before last, we talked about that the issue was in front of the Supreme Court judges when Biden's administration, let me say that word again, Biden's administration tried to violate the constitutional rights, yours that is, and tried to push the shots and the vaccines and the mask wearing on companies to force the rules by making you lose your job, right? Or force you to take tests every week, which is going to come out of your pocket. Well, the Supreme Court ruled in our favor, people who stand on the Constitution, that is, and said, nope, you can't do this. This is, again, a violation of not only companies' rights, but individuals' rights. So, man, I appreciate riding with you for this whole year, and we've been standing on the right side of the track about talking about our constitutional rights, brother. So, yes, and it may not be over with. Surely, the Biden's administration is going to try something else to take away your rights again, as the Democrats seeming to do. But nevertheless, right now, we have a great win.
Now, listen, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the great win, because there's some people out here, and, on social media, you have things called trolls, people that act like they are cool with you and become your friend on social media or whatever, or people that just, want to come onto your stuff and speak against everything you say or whatever, or they act like they talking about being in alignment with you, but then really they're not, right? So looking online, I was looking at something the other day. I think you got the same thing too, about a brother who he's talking about, oh, this is not the win. This is the he gave the whole battle versus war analogy and all that good stuff, and talking about not celebrating too much, But here's the thing. You said something amazing last night. And when you and I were talking about the show today, you said that when we celebrate, we're sending those vibrations out. Okay. And you know what? If as a man thinketh, so shall he be. As we speak and think things into existence, well, what is the tipping point? We only need a good 10, 11, 12% to be in total agreement in order for that tipping point to happen, in order for the rest of them to come aboard. So guess what, folks? Celebrate this win, because it is a win. You should never in any free country like this one of America try to force anyone to do anything against their will in a manner such as this. You telling me you want me to force me to go and get some ingredients of something that I don't know what it is and inject it into my body when I have no need for it. That's what you're trying to force me to do. That's the way that I and many others look at it. I have no need for it because we focus on health in my household. So even when we we may indulge a bit and have a little bit, but guess what? We talk about it on the show. We focus on health in my household. So guess what? We don't deal with the same negative medical issues that many do, simply because of our focus on health. So there's plenty of people out there that don't focus on their health, and they deal with issues. Now, to me, that's a stance of laziness, but that's just my opinion, right? So I'm just gonna keep it as that. That's my opinion. But to me, it's a stance of laziness to not focus on your health. And people want to sit here and say, hey, you're affecting others by not getting vaccinated. You're affecting my pockets and the health of a community and a world at large when you do not focus on your health. You are causing a strain on the medical industry out there, and that will be the next thing to bankrupt America here very soon if we don't get a lid on it. But that's my piece.
You mentioned something about those who maybe look at this from two sides, and here's why I look at it. I look at it like this. Of course, there's still a battle because you still got the same people in office still trying to push the same thing. However, with that said, we got to understand that when we talk about celebrating something, when we talk about sending that vibration out, don't allow no one to water that down. And this is the purpose, to try to make you water it down like the celebration won't have any meaning to you. Right now, today is a win. So you celebrate that win right now. And of course, you don't stop fighting, because here's the thing. There's always going to be something else around the corner coming. And so what you should realize at this moment is that you have a constitutional right that backs you up like no other country has. Like you look at Australia, you look at these other countries, even Canada, you see them forcing something onto these people, and yet they have no constitution to stand on. So what I'm saying is, what you should celebrate is that you should celebrate the fact that you have a written stone constitution that says that no one can do this to you, and that's the key. But here's another thing, that we're getting into this world of virtual reality. And this is something about the watering down of the brain. And this is why we're talking about the cannabis, the marijuana, because we're talking about what? Watering down the brain. And right now we have this virtual reality thing going on.
It's that metaverse world. That Facebook is bringing that metaverse. And listen, I just want to let you know, John, when you say virtual reality and stuff, I begin to shiver, because there's not many things in this world that scare me. But I'm gonna tell you what, virtual reality, that stuff scares me, because I'm seeing people lay down and take it and walk right through the door to where there is no end. But go ahead, man. I just want you to know that every time you say virtual reality, I get scared.
Yeah. So we have this world right now where we're living in this world that's not real, and we almost somehow buying into this unreal world. And it's unlike it would be like the next generation that comes after us that will pushing these gargles over your face, to where you don't want reality. Just like you see people, women and men, doing things to their faces that is not who they are, right? We're going to this avatar type of world. We're going to this avatar type of world where you can be whatever you want to be inside a matrix, right? And now you're going to be able to communicate and function through this matrix where you don't even get to see who you really are. So imagine now, 10, 20 years from now, you got kids stuck onto this thing. It's all day long. They ain't getting no outside sun. They ain't getting no play. They somehow got you plugged up to this virtual reality, and you think it's real life. This is where we're going into this world right now. But even with the phones and all the avatar things that you can do with your face, people ain't even real anymore. It's hard to even see people for who they really are, because they're hiding behind so much makeup and so many facades over their body that who in the hell are you? And this is the world we're going into now.
Bro, it's amazing, because I feel like, I don't know, but I'm sitting here and I'm watching this, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, hold on, I've seen this in about 18 different movies until now, okay? And now I'm watching it unfold. Around the 21st century, humanity gloated in its creation of AI. That was said in The Matrix, the first one, right? They said that in there. And guess what's happening? I mean, I try not to be too much of a conspiracy theorist. I try not to, just be off the rocker with this stuff. But bro, it's happening. We got the metaverse. If you guys are, that's Facebook's thing. They introduced it. They changed their name to Meta. Meta is something they already had. Crypto, yeah, you're right, Kari. Crypto is virtual reality, though. It's actually the currency of the metaverse. Yes. I believe that this pandemic was the big push to move us into a more digital, and even further into a digital virtual reality age, where AI takes over and does so much more work. There's companies out there that have AI that just works in the background of real people learning mannerisms. There's companies out there that have that technology. And all this AI does is sit back and learn mannerisms so that it can copy and duplicate customer service reps and things of that nature. You know, it's happening, folks. We are moving into this virtual. I just saw some partners of mine. They said that they put their business on the metaverse now, and they are working towards having their meetings and everything on this metaverse, on this virtual reality work. So now you're going to work into this video game matrix type of thing. Bro, I've seen like 8,200 movies on this. What are y'all thinking? You should be running from this. You should be turning the other way and saying, I'm out. But here we are. Hey, folks, I want to make sure I give a big shout out to Frank Stoner. Brother, grand rising to you. Phyllis Myers, grand rising, great rising. Layla Hampton, the educator, grand rising, fam. And yes, VR is the fall of humanity, folks. We are allowing computers to come in and take over us and to do our work. So what are humans going to be needed for? I mean, every time they come out with stuff like this, people lose their jobs. I mean, I know people right now that retired from Kroger's, they won't go and use any of the automated checkouts because they said, no, those are jobs that were lost with that happening. You got, 6 checkouts in this section here and one person that monitors them all. Those were 5 other people that lost their job, right? So it's just, it's interesting as we do this. You got automated trucking. Trucks been driving around California with driverless trucks driving around. You have Domino's delivering pizza with a robot that comes to your door as it gets dropped off. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but this stuff is scary to me. But either way, if you got a comment or a question about it, 502-776-1350. Again, give us a call, 502-776-1350. Give us a call. But hey, this conversation, Brother Yah, about the sticky icky. What prompted this conversation? What is it about the sticky icky that makes you say, okay, we need to sit down and have a talk about this?
Well, it's a conversation that whether it is a herb or is it a drug?
Some would say
That's
both.
a big question.
So some would say both, and is it a drug or is it a herb? I put it this way. Small doses of cyanide in the system will pierce cancer cells. So God knew what God was doing with apples and the seeds, right? Small doses pierce cancer cells, and that's a good thing. Now, you can also have larger doses of cyanide, and you can actually kill a person. So, in moderation, that cyanide is a great thing for the body. In its overuse of it, it becomes a poison and toxic. But I guess maybe the conversation is what is overuse, right? I don't know. What's your thoughts? Right. What's your thoughts when we start talking about herb versus drug, or addictive drug was the term?
Well, yeah, here's the thing, and I think, and of course, this is no smite against anyone who does smoke for whatsoever. We will, at the end, hopefully have some good herbs that you can probably go to and get to help repair your brain, first of all, and your lungs. So now, what is an herb is the question, and what makes the marijuana an addictive drug? And there's a difference, right? So the herb itself is something that actually is a plant. It really is a plant, and it grows from the ground, and this is what makes people call it an herb. But there's different uses. So there are different uses in this particular process. Let me give you an example. A little education, and this is what we're about. A little education on the marijuana plant. First of all, they called it marijuana to demonize it. The real name is cannabis. And there's only 3 different strains of cannabis. And when it first started, by the way, the marijuana back in my day is not the marijuana today. So there's three different strains. You have hemp, you have sativa, and you have indica. There's three different strains, right? And so now, if you take the herb, and here's the miracle part about the herb itself. If you eat the herb raw, juice it, you can juice it in a juicer, and you eat it raw, it has high powerful antioxidants in it that it will prevent you from getting ill. It will repair all of your cells in your body. The hemp and the sativa will repair all of the cells in your body if you eat it raw. Now, if you take the herb and you eat,
I don't want to forget the caller that we got on the line as well. Let's get them in real quick, and then we're gonna have you finish, John. Caller, welcome to the Tipping Point Morning Show.
Hey, good morning, fellas. This is me, Sean, bro.
All right, brother me, Sean. Do you smoke some of the sticky icky?
Hey, man, I come from, let me keep it 100. I come from John Yaw era, okay? What I used to smoke back in my days ain't what they doing today, okay? I keep it 100, had a good time. The moment that stuff started getting weird and everything, I had to put it down, man. I had a horrible consequences of some stuff, so I knew that stuff had changed on me and everything. Reason why I want to call is that y'all need to be having Martin Smith on your show. John, y'all, you need to reach out to him. Martin. Joe, Martin Smith.
Yeah, he's an Indian brother. Does he smoke the chief?
No, brother, he got a whole company that's based on him. He does this whole. I've been to his farm. I've been there.
Okay, cool.
Martin Smith is.
Well, I tell you what, go ahead and give him a call right now. Give him the number and tell him to call in today,
right now. Hey. No, Martin Smith is not that kind of guy, bro. Martin Smith is a businessman, man. I can't call him right now and get him on the phone because he's too busy. He don't do stuff like that. You have to give him a call and plan. He doesn't do those spare the moment stuff like that. I can speak for him because he's a military guy. He can't do stuff like that. Okay?
Cool.
So you all got to plan that. You got to plan that.
That'll work.
So it'll be a form of disrespecting him if I just do that right there. Sometimes I'm not doing that to him. The other thing I want to do is say that this morning I'm going to an MLK breakfast, and it's planning for Monday's walk on Monday and everything. And I think a lot of us, honoring Martin Luther King and everything. I just want to let everybody know about that. Morning breakfast at King Solomon, and then a walk is going to be taking place King Solomon on 28th and Broadway on Monday.
Okay, all right. Well, we appreciate the plug, brother me, Sean. Truth Be Told show, 9 a.m. on Tuesdays.
And can I just say one more thing?
Go right ahead.
Did any of y'all hear anybody hear the threat from Russia and shot across the bow this morning? Okay, did anybody pay attention that y'all talking about AI? So we talking about things that's going on. Russia made a threat, shooting across the bow. Okay, it's called, the news actually said it on the news this morning. My wife stopped in my track. They used the word Russia just shot across the bow. Okay, anybody military understand what that means? Okay, shot across the bow, sending a message to America and the nation what they just did. Okay, pay attention, America. All of us focus on being black. There's people who don't care about you being black. They only care about you being an American. And there's people trying to shut our capitalist society down for their own agenda. That's Brother Me, Sean, Uncle Me, Sean, just dropping it like it's hot, bro. Love y'all, man. Peace.
All right, peace, bro. All right. So that's pretty serious right there with the whole Russia thing. Maybe somebody was smoking weed and they accidentally hit the wrong button. I don't know. It happens. But with that in mind, you know, with what you were saying, brother, you know, kind of give us an idea, because I noticed you said something a little bit ago about repairing the brain. Now, I went and did a little research, looked some stuff up, and found that what we were told when we were younger, they would always say that we, you know, marijuana kills brain cells. Now, I couldn't find anything to validate that here recently. So, you know, is that a concern of yours as far as killing brain cells? What I did find in validating that is I found that the younger that you start, okay, so now we talk a lot about the development of the brain and how the brain isn't fully developed until age 21. And I know plenty of people that started smoking marijuana when they were 13, 14, and 15. You know, so I think there's a concern there. But as far as traditionally, you know, of age person over 21, brain fully developed, picking up and smoking and toking, there's nothing that validates it killing the brain. Is that a concern of yours?
No, and that's incorrect. That's incorrect. You got to go to neuroscience, and I can dump a bunch of information on you that makes you forget things. That is killing the brain cells. Every time you forget something, you remember something, smoke a joint and forget, you've just killed the brain cells. Just facts, okay? But let me finish up where I'm going about this subject, about the different components of marijuana. The first component, again, is if you eat marijuana, if you eat the cannabis, it has a high intent of antioxidants to repair your cell. Number one, if you eat it raw, if you cook it within 150 degrees for 15 minutes, you change the components, then you begin to activate the THC. So this is where you can make essential oils. You can cook it you can fix it in a brownie, and you get a whole different effect from where you feel. You have the CBD, which is a body feeling, and then you have the THC, which is psychotically of the brain. Back in my day, marijuana had no more than 2-3% THC. Today, they have 38 to 40% THC, psychoactive ingredient. Now, what makes it synthetic is when you put fire to it. When you actually smoke it and put fire to it, it becomes a synthetic drug. This is when it can be addictive. This is when it creates the behavior of psychotic behavior in it because it's messing with the brain cells, period. It also slows down your vibrational rate, meaning that you can sit and get high and think of some stuff, but you ain't going to do nothing about it. And and it may be the catalyst to the reason why Black people, us as a people who smoke every day, haven't produced nothing tangible that is great in our lives. And just like they give fluoride in the water, the reason they do that was to make the mind docile. Why the docile mind? Because a docile mind will not act with urgency to get something done. Same as marijuana. You would have a lack of urgency to get anything done. When I smoked, I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't producing nothing. But every time I quit smoking, I came up with new ideas. I came up with new things to create because I stopped smoking, right? And so those are just facts about those components. Now, I'm only addressing really the smoking every day is the thing. If you're a daily smoker,
I'm laughing because you're touching on some emotions out there, bro. I'm looking at the comments and there's some emotions coming. Go ahead.
Yeah, because that may be the addiction talking. If you're an everyday smoker, you are trying to escape reality. I'm just going to be real with you. There is something you don't like about the now that you continue. Same as drinking alcohol, right? So we got to understand that we into this virtual reality world now to escape reality. And I get that point because when I did smoke, I was escaping something. I was escaping whether I was depressed. Sometimes you get high, you're happy too, right? Or you stress, right? We go to the pipe. This is where the addiction comes in. It's called an impulse. You do things impulsively because you assume that it makes you feel better. There is where the addiction lies. Now, with that said, when we talk about the marijuana back then and the marijuana today today you have different strains of marijuana. And the marijuana today, you even have a little pack of it and you can smell it a block away. You can smell it in somebody's room days after they left, right? That's how loud it is. Shouldn't people be concerned about the high levels of THC? And secondly, and most important, the marijuana you buy today, guess what? It doesn't have any seeds to it. The marijuana we smoked back in the day, in the 70s, they all had seeds in the bud. So you're talking about a modification of a plant. So this has been weaponized against us as a people, and it's okay because you know why? We willfully accept it and believe that somehow it's helping us, and yet at the same time produce nothing tangible to offer to humanity. So that is just the facts of the marijuana, and I can definitely show the 2 points. And here's another one as we close this point here. The lung. You cannot prove to me in no shape or form that the lungs are supposed to take heat in it. In fact, if you go look up what can make your lungs collapse, it could be deep sea diving and smoking marijuana, not cigarettes. Smoking marijuana can collapse your lungs. I'm a witness because I've had my lungs collapse before smoking marijuana, right? Daily smoking, my lungs collapsed on, and it felt like an elephant was on my chest. So, in other words, I'm just giving you some facts of the marijuana. I ain't telling nobody to quit smoking, by the way, just like I ain't going to tell nobody to quit drinking. I'm just going to give you the facts of the different levels of marijuana, the different phases that it can help you in certain ways, and the fact that it can harm you in certain ways.
Bro, there's some emotions out there, bro. I tell you what. Shout out to Hamara Mathis. She says, yes, this stuff is so strong. Where is the regular weed? You know what? I was talking about the time travelers earlier in the show. Listen, I'm going to send a message out to you time travelers. I'm going to need y'all to go back in time and get the regular weed and bring it back to 2022. All right, we're gonna need to do that. We're gonna have to have a commission. But you know what? Kyrie Muhammad, shout out to him. They call
the regular weed Reggie.
Oh, they still got Reggie. They still got Reggie around. I be hearing about Reggie. It's just people don't really like Reggie too much. You know, I'd hate to see any brother named Reggie, because man, you come into a world that is unliked. Let's see. People don't eat grapes with seeds, but smoke weed without seeds. I never thought about that. That's Kyrie Muhammad right there.
People don't eat grapes with no seeds.
People don't eat grapes with no seeds. Well, right, I mean, they do. Modified. I mean, actually, traditionally, people do eat grapes without seeds because.
Well, they do.
Yeah, I mean, they do. And I mean, as a matter of fact, I have a hard time finding seeded grapes. I try to find the seeded grapes because I use them when I blend, and grapeseed extract has great anti-inflammatory properties, all that type of stuff. And I've suggested it, utilized it, and you know, made it for people with arthritis issues and stuff like that. So I love seeded grapes, and as a matter of fact, you pop them in the freezer, and it's a nice little snack to eat on those seeded grapes. But in the grocery store, you only find seedless grapes traditionally. You got to go to like a Whole Foods or something like that to find seeded grapes.
Right. Well, Kerry Muhammad is comparing the seedless grapes to modification, and to compare it to marijuana with no seed. What he's saying is this is a GMO. This has been modified. That's what he's pointing out.
Leonard Walker says, for decades, cannabis has been combined with formaldehyde. Back in the day, this was given names like Love Boat or Monkey Paw. I just like saying that, Monkey Paw. Nowadays, it's been called hydro. So when we are smoking weed, we are ingesting formaldehyde, and formaldehyde is embalming fluid. Yes. Shout out to Splenda as well. There's some ties between embalming fluid and Splenda. But you guys enjoy. Do what you want to do. Let's see.
Well, the word hydro, it just means that it was grown in water. It was not grown in dirt or soil. That's what hydro means. what hydroponics is where the word hydro came from.
Mm-hmm.
And they did used to use some type of embalming fluid on the marijuana today. I mean, on the marijuana back then. But the marijuana today, they're not using that. It's already been modified to increase its THC level by changing the seed to where it produces more THC in the plant opposed to producing seeds itself. And this is why you have buds with no seeds, but they're very high concentrated in THC.
Man, you know what? And Hamara says something. She says only purple seeded grapes you can find, not the green ones, though. She's right. I've never seen seeded green grapes. Even when I find the red grapes that are seeded, I've never seen green seeded grapes. That's amazing. Fact right there. I've never seen it. Maybe I'm in the wrong place. I don't know. But what I'm seeing out here is a lot of people are just saying, hey, to each his own, to each its own. Do you think that marijuana use is a problem as a culture?
Well, I put it this way. I'm gonna put it this way. I think everyone should question the marijuana that you're smoking, and then you have to question yourself. You have to ask yourself, do you think better when you don't smoke? And I'm sure there's some testimonies on here that when you didn't have any marijuana, your brain kind of changed and thought a little different. Don't tell me you still think the same just because you've been smoking every day and when you quit, you wasn't having a higher thought vibration. What it does basically, I'm gonna tell you again, having a high vibration is a level of thought that is pumped up with you feeling in your emotion. If you take something that brings you down, guess what you're doing? You're bringing your vibrational level down. And could this be the reason why we are not really manifesting the life that we really want? Because we're thinking about it in a joint, but the mind doesn't connect with the electromagnetic field out here. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there because I can tell you now, in my experience, when I don't smoke, I create something new. I bring in a new invention. I create a new product, or I create a trademark in something, right? And I can count when I wasn't smoking and I didn't create nothing. I only absorbed what I did create. But when I stopped smoking, I leveled up and created something new. So listen, you have to determine this upon yourself. I'm not here to fight your addiction and your reasons to smoke every day. It is my challenge to be transparent to myself and understand how my brain works and how my brain functions. That's it.
Well, I'm gonna be the one to sit here and say some of y'all smoke too much, for real. Because I know some of them, bro, they like 2, 3, 4 blunts. It's like if ain't nothing going on in the moment, then they just reach over, grab another blunt. You know, it's like, you know what? You could reach over and grab the laptop, or you could reach over and grab your phone and start Googling some stuff, learn some things, you know, how to get out of the poor predicament that I'm in financially. Google that instead of saying, you know what, I'm broke, so I'm gonna have to, man, I'm so broke. You know, I think that there is a tie with smoking and I'll put it this way, smoking too much and a poor-minded mentality. Because again, you're right. I think that when you smoke too much, then you start to bang on or bang away some of those creative juices that you would have if in fact you weren't smoking, right? Because there's about 1 billion things you could be doing in the midst of that pastime, right? You could be doing so many different things that would elevate you, that would, because what do we talk about all the time? Doing something more today than you did yesterday in order to improve your situation. Folks, we're going to a virtual reality world. So, you know, yeah, we're starting to, you know, people over on this wavelength are starting to look at, okay, maybe I'm not interested in being in the virtual world because I think it's the Matrix, but I'll invest some money in there. I'll go find some of these companies that are involved with it, and I'm gonna invest some money in it and profit off of it. You know, just like the vaccine. I don't believe in taking the vaccine, but man, do you see what Moderna's stock is right now? I bought it when it was like $100. You know what I mean? And that was late for me. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. You got to start thinking, because the traditional person getting up and going to work, I think, is being limited more and more. All right, so you're gonna have to start looking at this online community, figure out how you can start making some money, or how you can get yourself involved with that in some way, shape, or form. You know, IT, if you're in IT ain't going nowhere. Okay, they're gonna need IT forever. So you better start learning some stuff, something, you know, figure out how you can get your business online, figure out how you can start investing in some things online, so that when that time comes, when they've eliminated all the jobs out there, and you ain't got nothing to do but sit on this stipend that they giving you every month, you know, you need to be making some money some kind of way. I'm just saying, folks. You know, you got to start looking at.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. In this world of success, I'm telling you, in my research, the most successful people that I have met in my journey of business, and just being around people who are talking really about inventing and bringing things into existence, wasn't getting high. People that I have talked to in business, and I know quite a few business people. Of course, I deal with over 400 locations, and I deal directly with other store owners. They ain't sitting around getting high. Now, maybe their sons are, but they're not. The reason it is because most people who are successful, they up 5 in the morning, and they're reading. They're getting stuff done, right? So you got to ask yourself, and this is something you have to set in your own shoes and ask. Not something for me to tell you. It's something for me to point out. You have to ask yourself, can you achieve more? And if so, why aren't you? And then what's stopping you? You have to ask yourself, is there room for improvement? Is there room that you can get up early and get more done? You have to ask yourself those questions, because here's the thing. We're in a condition, most of us are, that we seem to can't get out of, and we're still with our hands out begging. So there's something you have to bring outside of yourself, which is a quality of you. The best quality of you isn't in a pipe. I'm sorry, it's not. The best quality of you isn't in a blunt. I'm sorry, it's not. So you can improve your own lifestyle by changing the function of your brain and your thinking. And so marijuana and drinking alcohol could be the catalyst to your reason why you can't achieve greatness. But you have to ask yourself, are you better than you really want to be? In other words, check this out. Who you are now is inferior to who you're going to be 10 years from now if you have that process of thinking. But if you keep your mind docile, this is exactly where the power to be want you to be. They don't want you creating nothing. They don't want you inventing nothing. They don't want you to figure a way out of your poverty situation, because they're in control with you in poverty. So you have to ask yourself those questions. Not for me to ask, but you have to sit down and be real with yourself and say, where is it benefiting you? First of all, you're spending too much money on it, which you could have been saving some money and putting this in some type of investment somewhere, number one. And you could have been actually thinking of something that is dope that would have been bringing into this existence. You have a dope mind, but maybe marijuana is killing it and making your mind docile. Just putting it out there. You need to check it out for yourself.
Yes. I agree. I've been sitting here. Brother Leonard Walker said something about the Venus Project, which looks like another crazy thing having to do with this whole virtual reality stuff. Something about an urban system designed to maximize the quality of life. How you can join us in planning and building a better, smarter, cleaner city. Yeah, I seen that movie too. But with all of this said, I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I'm gonna put it out there. Look, I smoke, but I don't know what you call a person like me that may smoke. I smoke once in a blue, or I can smoke for a couple days. But when I say once in a blue, like I done found weed, and then I'll be like, oh man, this was from a year ago. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a smoker in that sense. And I know that I am pushing building, creating, and all type of stuff. You know, I get ridiculed more for always doing something versus anything else, you know, because even if I'm chilling at home, sitting on the bed, I got the laptop up and I'm Googling stuff and trying to figure stuff out. You know what I mean? That's my favorite pastime is learning how I can make things better. I got some websites I'm working on, other shows. About to come out with another podcast here soon. Some people have pulled me in, but either way, I feel like anything that stunts your creativity. If you sit there and you look at yourself, and one thing I'm gonna tell y'all, one thing that will help you out, something that I did this year, and or something that I created a new one this year, a wealth board. All right. And what I'm doing with this wealth board is I'm taking it and I'm writing down all of the things that I'm involved in, how they're tied together, and an estimated amount of income from each of those things. Right. So with that, when you start doing stuff like that, it really puts a lot of things in perspective, because at that point you should look at the different things and include your job in there as well. All right, because that is another stream of income. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create multiple streams of income, as many as I can. And ultimately, with that in mind, when you sit there and you look at that wealth board, it will bring perspective to the point to where you're looking and you're saying, okay, how can I get all this accomplished? And if you find that you're spending time, you know, lighting up some chifa more than you are focusing on the things on this wealth board, that's a problem. That's a problem. You know, I'm gonna say to each his own, but anytime you are doing anything, if you're drinking more than you are creating, if you're smoking more than you creating, if you sniffing more than you're creating, it's a problem, right? Because you were put on this earth to create, to build, to explore. And you can't do all them things if you stuck in the house. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm gonna say about it. Let's look at what a few people out here say. Shout out to Frank Stoner. When I smoked back in the day, I was not as creative as I am now. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Frank is over here, you know, he's creating new teas and supplements like every day. I see a new one coming out almost. Like at least every week there's a new supplement or something coming out. He's looking and he's saying, okay, what is it that people are dealing with? What's their problems? All right, here, I'm gonna solve that problem because I learned that this right here will help fix that problem. Boom, a new tea, a new supplement. So, you know, that right there is it. And of course, we know Miss Janice Wakefield. She is big on saying to each his own on that, and I get it. Your addiction will always fight to survive. Ooh, that is Phyllis Myers right
your
there.
Addiction,
now,
that is yes.
That is deep
what that
right
means,
there.
Your addiction will fight to survive. It will use whatever it needs to use to justify your addiction. That's what she's saying.
You wonder why a pedophile can't stop. Ooh, his addiction was fighting to survive.
Will fight.
You wonder why alcoholics can't just stop drinking, because their addiction will fight to survive. Ooh, so what you're saying in that point is that the addiction itself becomes its own thing. It's as if it's its own entity that wants to come out and explore and be a part of your everyday life. So it will fight to survive. That is deep. So here we go with Brother Pratar saying, what do you mean by creation or creating? I mean, I kind of feel like that's a self-defined term, but you know, in creating or creation, it is in duplicating, taking some of yourself and putting it out there, right? Duplicating some of you. So that means, you know, in my sense, I'm talking business, I'm talking investing, whatever. So you can work a job your whole life, but take some of your money and go buy real estate, go invest, go put your kids through college. You know, that is success to me. You know, and that is a part of creating and creation. So, you know, to me, that's what that is. And yes, Hamara, I'm in total agreement with what Phyllis Meyer said. It was do for reals, for reals. You know, she kind of came in and just like slapped everybody in the face and dropped that right there.
That's right.
So Brother Patah says, so our addiction by eating, are we doing that for survival? You know, with that being said, addiction to eating, you can be addicted to many things, folks. We just happen to be talking about the sticky icky today. So, you know, it's understood that you can be addicted to many different things. Pleasures of the flesh versus
there is again the curveball. That's the curveball we'll throw to make logic to improve or to keep the addiction alive, because that's the curveball. We're talking about food and something else. We're talking about marijuana, and we're talking about the effects on the brain and it blocking your ability to create. Now, here's what's interesting.
Now, hold on. Now, let me say something before you drop that, John. One of your posts, which kind of started this whole thing, is what is it that white people can give black people that they will what was it? It was that they will take and defend.
They won't question.
That, yeah, they will defend and won't question. Exactly. What is it that white people can give black people that they will defend and won't question? Woo!
Let me tell you something. Let me veer off for a second. These people who call themselves consciously woke about what the white man is doing and don't see the fact that this white man is so clever that he can put some GMO weed out here and y'all won't see it. You won't see that this is his job. This is what he does, right? We won't even put that in. We don't talk about the liquor stores on every corner. Why is it easy to zone a liquor store on every corner? But we can talk about the demons of the white man, and we can talk about all this with our black woke self, but sit around and get high with the same agenda to talk about doing something that they are doing to us. And then we're stuck in this condition. Now, back to what I was saying about what is success. Success is having an ideal and executing it, properly executing the ideal to where it comes in this existence. That is called success. It doesn't mean you make $1 million. It doesn't mean none of that.
Mm-mm.
It means this, that you have you're capable of having an ideal and you can execute it. There is success right there, and that's how you define it.
Absolutely, and that's why I said you know, you could have a job and be putting your kids through college. That's success right there. You could have a job and be investing in other things. That's success.
And no one is saying that smoking weed is addictive. What we're saying is that smoking every day is definitely a sign of an addiction because it becomes habitual. Habitual means that's what it becomes. It becomes something impulsive that you do over and over and over again every day. There's the addiction. You're smoking a joint once a week. You're smoking a joint once a month. You really can't call that an addiction like a person who may drink a bottle of wine or drink a glass of wine once a week. But if you're doing it every day, if you are justifying your lifestyle to do it every day, you have a problem. It's just that simple. Go talk to a therapist. They'll tell you.
Absolutely.
Don't forget our sponsor.
I think we got a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to the Tipping Point Morning Show. You got about a minute before we gotta go, but go ahead and drop something on us.
Peace, my brothers. How you doing? This is El Patah.
How you doing there, brother Patah?
Hey, what's going on? I just want to make a quick comment.
Yes, sir.
When I heard you guys were saying, "Oh, this person called and she dropped the bomb about addiction." If you actually read the topic head on there is marijuana a herb or a drug and so forth. If you look up the definition in Google as far as what a drug is, first word it's going to say is medicine. Medicine. Look it up. Don't take my word for it. It's medicine. So that's what they're defining the word drug or drugs to be.
Or addictive
drug.
drug.
If people are using or indulging marijuana, if they indulge in marijuana as a getaway or what you call an addiction, that's no different than eating, walking, talking. It's sugar. Sugar is in everything. Even in natural organic fruit, sugar is in that. You know.
So with that, so what you're saying, brother, are you justifying it based on what you're talking about with the sugar? Is that your justification? Is that your comparison?
Yes. And the reason I compare that because sugar is the most addictive drug in the world. They have wars and won nations off of sugar and rum.
Right. Well, here's the thing.
You know.
Here's the thing. We will talk about sugar later. Right now, we'll talk about is marijuana an herb or is it an addictive drug? That's the question right now. And what I just said,
I don't think it's an addictive
marijuana
drug.
Marijuana have several components to it. And if you have to describe addiction based on your impulse, not someone else's, if you have an impulse behavior, go talk to a therapist. They'll tell you what an addiction is.
Well, we're going to have to talk more about this, brother, on the after show. I wish I had called in earlier, man.
Come on the after show.
It's all good. We'll continue the conversation on the after show. Appreciate the call in, brother. We'll see you soon.
Great stuff.
Absolutely. And you know, if anybody ever wants to join us on the after show, remember, you can go to YouTube and you can type in the Tipping Point Morning Show and we will come up. If you hashtag it as well as the Tipping Point Morning Show, you'll see us on YouTube as well. You can comment from there. Also, you can jump on social media on Facebook, and you can also check us out at the Tipping Point Radio Show. Or if you go into the search and put the @ in there, the Tipping Point Show, you should find us just the same. Or follow any of those hashtags. Hashtag the Tipping Point Radio Show, hashtag the Tipping Point Morning Show. You will find us on Facebook as well. But I think to summarize this for the radio crowd, listen, you know, to each his own, but you got to think about if in fact you look around and you don't see creative movement in your life, then look at anything that you're doing maybe a little bit too much to where you could be interjecting some creativity. Let's make sure we give a big shout out real quick before we go to healthdaddywow.net. Again, that's healthdaddywow.net. Folks, I want you guys to check that out. Remember, that's Brother Frank Stoner there, and he's bringing all the supplements to you. You also got Saya Baba, SYABABA.com. Again, SayaBaba.com. That's SYABABA.com. And don't forget God'sLivesMatter.com as well, because God's Lives Matter and every life has infinite value. IncredibleCustom.com. INKREDIBEIB. Listen, IncredibleCustom.com, folks. Remember, text INC to 678-506-7543. We'll see you next week on the Tipping Point Morning Show. Right, folks, y'all give us a second to regroup. And un momento, por favor.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Right here on WLOU, stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.
There you go, folks. It is our choices that show who we truly are, far more than our abilities. That is J.K. Rowling quote right there. I love it. Man, great show. Love the conversation. I know that my neck, is in pain, and those gummies help out. I do know that. But with that in mind, getting into some of these, oh, look at that, an agreement right there. Sweet. She says, I do agree. It is medicinal. Hamara Mathis says, a medicine to burn and inhale through meditation. Back in 2014, it was very useful for me. It helped with my enlightenment, but I didn't smoke it. That's one way to do it, is to inhale. You know what I want to do some research on is the effects of secondhand smoke on children. Because what I see a lot is people that will smoke, and I'm wondering if there's any effects as it pertains to their children that are around in the home. That's a good question right there, because again, you talking kids, they are under that age of 21 where their brains are still developing. So one thing that I did see in research was how the younger a person is exposed to the sticky icky, the more negative effects it will have on the brain. And so that's an interesting thought as well. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts on that or what have you, but it is what it is. So I think we made a point and got the point across. So I think we did what we came to do. Processed sugar, not fruit sugar, is addictive. Absolutely, folks. That's something that I'm teaching some people to do more so, is to look at ingredients and realize, you got to understand marketing, man. If you look at things with the perspective that, the Smokey the Bear, only you can prevent a forest fire. For me and myself, I believe in me. So when it comes to cooking and foods and things, I make my own spices, I make my own sauces. I do things from scratch, because people will sit there and they tell me, oh, well, especially when I used to do the Vitamix demos and stuff like that, and I'd be out there and people would say, oh, well, my grandma lived to be, 199 years old, and she ate ham hocks and this, that, and the other. Yeah, but see, they were farming. And they were getting food right from the backyard. And whether they were eating meat or whatever, or pig or whatever, it was fresh. Like, it was killed that day and it was cooked that night. Any medicinal value that was there, any nutritional value that was there, it is actually right there in the food. It's still there, as opposed to something that's been shipped across country and processed and all this other stuff. So that's why when you look back in the day, they grew their fruits and vegetables. They raised the animals that they ate. They went and fished in the morning, and at night that was sitting on the table and they were enjoying that. So yes, when you create your own sauces and things of that nature, but when you look at what's out there, one of the reasons why I don't buy like combo seasonings, where it's like multiple different things in one, you always see what they call a anti-caking ingredient in there. So again, that's yet again something else that you really don't want in your body. But so when we start talking about addiction and all this type of stuff, again, y'all gotta start looking at ingredients list and understand all this processing, man. You know, they say that a person that dies in America, their body takes longer to decompose because of all the synthetic chemicals and ingredients that we consume. You know, which is interesting. You know, when I die, I want to get right down to the dirt. Like I'm trying to decompose quick. But you know, that's just me. Let's see, what else is out there? I need y'all to do a show about the addiction of sex within the Black community that is killing people by way of AIDS and HIV. That is a real issue as well. Smoke weed all you want, but can we assist our own in sex that doesn't lead to death? I think a lot of the sex addiction has to do with smoking weed and having too much fun. I don't know. I'm just playing, y'all. it could be, you know, it might be a close relationship there. Did you send Patah the link?
No, I haven't. I didn't.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna send.
I'll send him more.
Yeah, go ahead. Because you had the computer. Go ahead. But you know, I want to talk some more about. I'm always game for COVID conversations because, you know, this stuff is just hilarious to me. But as we move into this metaverse world and this virtual reality stuff, this stuff is hilarious to me. But I'll say, man, the thing that irritates me about it all is just that there have been so many facts that have come out showing why you should not go and get this vaccine. I don't even want to get tested, but I believe that I may have to focus on getting tested simply to be able to leave the country, because there is some places that we can go to, and all you need is a negative test from the last 3 days, right? And so, you know, that may be something that I might do, is go get the test. I don't know if they're gonna let me test myself or what. I was thinking about ordering a bunch of COVID test kits from China because it'd be cheaper. What y'all think?
I tell you what, I just
hopefully they're not used.
I just sent Patah the link. But one thing definitely I want to close in this subject as we talking about the marijuana. It's very interesting because I will focus on the brain part of it, if anything.
Look at this comment right here as you make that comment. We cannot diagnose ourselves with a disorder, then prescribe ourselves weed as a medication. That make sense. Yeah, we do that a lot, don't we? You know, I got high anxiety, so that's why I got to smoke this weed.
That's the point I'm making about escaping. Some of you do it too much and you're really just trying to escape reality, which is perfectly set up for the virtual reality. But let me add this real quick. And these ingredients, I'm gonna say that most of these you can get from Frank, and this are very important to help repair your brain. You should get eyebright. Eyebright is a very important herb. It's an herb that can repair and help your brain. It's called eyebright because it helps the eyes, and the eyes is in the brain. You want to use Go-To Cola. Go-To Cola is great for also repairing the brain and repairing your memory of losing your memory from smoking and drinking too much. You also want to do some foods that are bitter, like any green foods, greatly heavy green foods that are bitter. It's also good for the brain and help repair the brain. Go to ginkgo. Ginkgo is also a good herb that you can help repair your brain. This is about brain repair. It's not about staying stupid and staying a docile mind. So you can get these ingredients from Frank Health Daddy. He has a great formula with the eyebright. It's called Eye Formula, and it has everything in it for the eyes. I'm telling you, when you talk about eye formula, you're talking about a brain formula. Take repair the brain.
Lastly, pineal gland, right?
Yeah. Lastly, you want to eat cilantro. Try to eat it raw. Just take some cilantro, wash it off. You can get little packs of cilantro. Just walk around and eating cilantro. It helps clear the pineal gland and remove calcium from the brain, right? Because you want to help clear clear cognitive thinking when you think of something. And this is the problem why people are so into taking shots and not really thinking about the consequences of it, right? We just follow along because somehow we became a docile thinking people. Maybe you're drinking fluoride, maybe you're drinking too much alcohol, or maybe you're smoking too much weed, but something is causing you to low down your vibration rate and you don't question things around you. Just keep that in mind. Go to Frank Health Daddy, and I guarantee you, he has some herbs for your brain.
Yeah, I think cilantro helps get rid of heavy metals in the body as well. So cilantro is definitely great there.
Parsley helps remove mercury.
Parsley, yeah, there we go.
Cilantro helps remove calcium from the body. Build up calcium, get into the bloodstream, and it clogs up your brain. So cilantro helps, but any bitter food helps the brain reconnect itself, right? Reconnect the neurons in the brain. If you eat bitter food and you do like it, that's brain power inside the brain.
Yeah, I've been meaning to go get some ginkgo biloba. I just keep forgetting. Brother Patah, how you doing there, family?
Hey, what's going on? Can y'all hear me good?
Yes, sir. We hear you great, brother.
I'm in a proprietary area, so I might have to get off. But I just got one question. A couple of questions, really. It's almost like it's propaganda. I understand, and yes, you're right. Everything you're saying is correct with the health matter. But it's almost like you're propagandizing marijuana. You're making it like, back in the 20s and 30s, how the government used to have these films where they show people who smoke weed jumping off the buildings and killing themselves and trying to act like they want to fly and, just doing things and just laying around the house like stereotypes they see as, oh, hey, man, hey, pants hanging all down. How many people do you know, since you're saying that, are you putting that in a macro sense or in a micro sense of people? And not only that, do you know of anyone that smoke heavily that's doing any good? That's the question I want to have. Name one person. Dr. Sebi smoked weed till he died. And that is a fact. So
that doesn't mean anything, brother. That you mentioning Dr. Sebi. I'm not a fan of Dr. Sebi, first of all. No, I'm not. I'm not. You don't hear me quoting Dr. Sebi, so that don't help me out in the subject. But let me say this: you're talking about the thing about the 60s. Let me tell you something very interesting. When the white man tells you can't help something for the black man, what do the black man want to do? He wanted more, right? Ain't that interesting? So what I'm telling you is that now they legalized it. Now they're legalizing it, but they changed the components of the marijuana. It's not the same as back then. Right now, you're smoking something that is actually modified and has been weaponized. That's the only thing I'm talking about, because here's what I can prove. THC is a psychoactive drug. And so if you take 2% back in the 70s and now you hype it up to 38%, something is wrong here. And you need to be questioning that. Why would they have this marijuana with such a high THC level? If you don't see that, then maybe, baby brother, maybe you are smoking too much, because these are the things we should be questioning. That the marijuana they releasing now, all of a sudden they want to make it legal. THC is spiked up. Why is that?
Well, here's my argument, brother. My debate is you're using the word they. They, you're talking about dispensaries, or even in the street. They wasn't spiking anything up. The marijuana that you got back in the 70s, only difference was it had more seeds in it than you see it in it now. What about people who do homegrown, who do it right underneath the earth, or who uses it for rituals? We can't criminalize marijuana.
Where they get the seed from? Do you know?
Now, not using inculpatory statements, but I've grown some plants before, and I understand the spray too. But I've grown some plants before, because the soil, it's the same thing as if you grow.
But you kind of avoided my question, brother. What I said was about the marijuana that today has been modified and has been spiked up with THC. Are you saying that ain't true?
Well,
oh, you ain't lived long enough, brother. You can Google, and back in the day, THC didn't have no 38% in the marijuana. It didn't.
Look, it's because it's getting loud. I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm gonna call you back on that. I'm gonna call you back.
All right. So really the issue is that the issue is trying to make people aware of the high level of THC in the marijuana. That's all I'm saying. And so you have to have some suspicion of why we have marijuana today, which THC as high as 38%. And THC is it's a psychoactive part in the brain. Is it helping you create something new? Do you think the white man will let marijuana out here if the people were really improving their lives and black people were really getting along and we were building something out, the marijuana is making us really see some real good stuff? Do you think it would be so easily accessible? I don't think so. And I think that becomes the issue. I'm not telling no one to quit smoking. I'm not. All I'm saying is that understand the difference between the herb and when it becomes a drug. That's it. That's all I'm saying. When it becomes a drug, it becomes synthetic. That's it, right? And so the comparison of the two. I'm not knocking anyone. You can name a whole bunch of people that you can mainly name Snoop Dogg, but I ain't saying Snoop Dogg created nothing new. Yeah, you can be high as hell and think of some rap songs and stuff, but who's the one that actually took that and made the money off of it is the question. So really successful people are not sitting around smoking every day. The people who are really successful. So you got to kind of look at that and look at your own life. And that's all I'm saying is that if you're smoking every day, and I heard what the sister said, very important, about the addiction will talk to you and it will justify whatever it is you're doing. It will happen, right? So we just want to discuss the habitual behavior and whether or not it's addictive. Now, I'm not a therapist, but if you really want to talk to some people, you can Google information. It's right there in your face that is it addictive? Is it not addictive? There are drug therapists will tell you that anything that becomes an impulse, a habitual, it's actually an addiction. It's just that simple. So you have to ask yourself, is it an impulse? Is it something habitual that you think of every day and you feel like you can't get along without it? That becomes an addiction. And whether you like it or not, those are the facts. And that's the only thing we'd want to do here is just bring up the facts about the smoking every day. Is it addiction? Is it addictive or is it not?
You know, and I mean, I think of course it's addictive because anything is addictive. You know, you can be addicted to cutting a light switch on and off. You know, many people are addicted to social media. You know, we have a lot of addictions, which essentially are distractions in our society today, way more than we ever had before. In this society, you know, but again, if you're not bringing anything forth in life, then I think that's where it's a problem. Right. Habitually, yeah, I see some people who literally, just because nothing is going on at that moment in time, they reach over and grab their blunt. They will get so strategic in rolling up their blunt and stuff for the next day, but they won't be as strategic with other things in their life.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And that's interesting. That's where, to me, it becomes an issue and a problem. It's like, man, you know, why don't you apply that same strategic movement to other parts of your life? Look at how great things could potentially be if you were to do that. But
I like what this brother says right here. Be careful where you get your weed from. Absolutely be careful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, you know, but I guess again, at the end of the day, you know, niggas gonna do what they gonna do.
Exactly.
You know, all we here to do is
just here to put out the information, like it or not. We here just put out the information. You can take it, leave it, chew on it a little bit, spit it out. It's up to you.
Yeah, chew on it, spit it out. You can even smoke the information.
You can even smoke it. Roll it up.
Smoke the information. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. You know, I know that, you know, I know some very productive people that come home and take a little toke and eat a little brownie that they made themselves, and that's their relaxation at the end of the day. But there's some very productive people, you know. I know people like that. But I know many successful people like yourself that do not smoke weed at all. You know, maybe they have some other type of vice or addiction. Maybe they're sex addicts. I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, my biggest thing is, are you out here creating? Are you blossoming? Are you becoming more in life? That's my biggest thing. And to become more is to learn more, know more, do more, and be more. That's becoming more. So to me, as long as you out there doing that, hey, you can smoke. Hey, Frank said, can he come in? Yeah, Frank, you can jump in, man.
Come on in, Frank. Let me send it to him.
Yeah, go ahead, send him the link. And
I know Frank got something to share with us.
When does any addiction become harmful? That's a good question right there. Absolutely.
Okay, so when it becomes harmful, great question. It becomes harmful when it affects your health. How about that? That's when it becomes harmful. When it affects your health, when it blocks you from living healthy and abundantly, that's when it's harmful. So if you're doing sugar and you're addictive to it, it can block certain things you are not able to do. It can make you more sick. It can create cancer cells in you, right? So, you know, an addiction can be harmful. Drinking too much alcohol can definitely destroy your liver and destroy your kidney. Okay, so yeah, you can drink alcohol once a month, and it may not mess with your kidney or liver, but drink it every day. And I know some people listening right now and will talk about cigarettes and say, well, my grandfather, he lived till he's 90. You used to hear that? He lived to his 90 and he still smoked, you know. And it's just crazy. That's justification of
well, the silly part about that is, honestly, you could say he could have lived to 100 if he didn't smoke. You know what I mean? Like
150, right?
Exactly. You know, so it's kind of silly to say things like, oh, somebody lived to such and such and they did this, that, and the other.
Frank, I sent you the link. But yeah, but anyway, that's when it's harmful, when it somehow prevents you from living your fullest. That's it. So that's how you determine whether or not is it addicted, is the addiction harmful or not. Or, you know, I think any addiction that's harmful will affect you one way or another. Again, not knocking anyone that smoke, not knocking anyone that drinks. I am referring to that if you back up a little, just see how your brain refocuses and rethink of some things. That's all I'm saying. I know I experienced it. So, you know, that's my experience sharing it with you. Brother Frank, can you hear me?
Yeah, brother. We good?
Yeah, we good. I don't know, Joe. Go.
What's going on? Yeah, I'm doing some technical stuff here, and got some things going on. Okay. But yeah, no, you good? Y'all can hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, yeah. Sir.
All right.
I just want to chime in real quick on when I commented on, you know, made my comment. It was what I experienced. As far as me, when I smoked back in the day, I wasn't creative. And matter of fact, that's all I wanted to do. And eventually, let's just say over time, eventually I had to really leave it alone because I found myself staring into space, you know, like especially going into the grocery store or something like that. You know, I'm sitting there staring at the product, you know, on the aisle, like, what the hell am I doing here? You know, so I had to adjust it. And the thing is, I still wanted to smoke it. So I had to adjust. I said, I'm gonna wait till I get through with everything for the day. I'm not gonna have to go out of the house anymore. And then I'll smoke me a little bit, you know? So it brought me paranoia. No, I wasn't creative. It was I addicted to it at the time? Yes. In my opinion, I was. And let me say this. There's no way I could speak for 100% of the people. No, John can't speak. Joe can't speak for 100% of the people. So that's not what's going on here. What we're saying is, in my opinion, overall, this is what's up. and look around us. Are we look at our situation? Have we been creative? Have we built things as we used to? You know, it just seems like we had a standstill. I'm not saying marijuana has, you know, a lot to do with it, but I'm just saying we're just not being creative. And my experience with the marijuana or weed, I just wasn't getting anything done as I do now. And I was telling John when we was having this conversation, now today that I personally don't fool with it anymore, I can think of 1,000 ways to make some money. I can think of 1,000 ways to be creative. And in my other occupation, you know, I just kind of drive. I don't like to tell everybody what I do, but I'm not driving. My mind is so creative when I'm just driving out there and just focusing on, you know, that's where I come up with a lot of mine.
It's almost like meditating.
Yes. And I'm just saying, back in the day, I didn't do that. And I just noticed that. That's all. And do I know some people who smoke weed that still function and get things done? Absolutely. But overall, for me, it just wasn't a good thing in my life. And I don't like it. You know, I just don't like, okay, let me say this real quick. When you put smoke to anything, you change the structure of it. You know,
like when you put fire to something.
Fire to something. You change the structure and everything of it. You know, it's just not even that product anymore. You know, so we can't say, I mean, how can you say that's healthy? How can you say putting that smoke in your lungs like that is healthy? Now, the plant itself in its natural state, used in a tea or, you know, and baked in something or something like that, I think it has very good properties, in my opinion. Matter of fact, I can't wait till they legalize it here so I can get it from its natural state with seeds still in it. So I can maybe put it out there for people as a tea, you know, or a tincture or something like that. You know, no, I don't agree with smoking it. I think it messes a whole lot of things up within the body, as John so eloquently put it today.
I'm just thinking of all the iced tea niggas gonna be making when they legalize it. They're gonna be growing plants and making sugar-induced iced tea with it.
Well, it is legal. Hemp is legal, and it's in tinctures right now, and it's in oils. I used to make it for a sister for glaucoma, right? I said I know how to make a tincture or a tar into it, right? So it is legal. It's legal right now for a bottle of it because the CBD is a body feeling. It takes away the pain. Like you said, you do gummies, right? That's not psychoactive. When you're talking about CBD, that's a body healing. When you have a certain pain or ache, you can do a gummy. That's not a THC. If you notice, when you're selling these gummies, it doesn't have maybe 1% THC in it. It may have none, but it's mostly CBD. I'm here talking about the THC of the psychoactive part. That's the only difference.
Yeah, I think, you know, ultimately there's a big issue when it comes to the psychoactive issues. Like you said, Frank, heat changes the molecular composition of anything ultimately. You know, that's why when you start talking about food, but it's interesting because knowing is half the battle, right? So you look at certain things like lycopene found in tomatoes, right? It's a cancer fighting ingredient. Some people will say you add heat to things and period, it's just wrong. But that's not the case, because you take Italians and you look at why Italians traditionally don't deal with heart disease, for instance, right? Because tomato and lycopene, once you add heat to it, you when it's cooked, a traditional pasta in a traditional Italian household is cooked at a very low temperature for a long period of time. Breaks ruptures the cell walls of the food, and then the nutrition is now out. So you're not killing off the nutrition because it's not at such a high temperature, but you're allowing the nutrition to be exposed more so, right? Same thing, what John mentioned it earlier with being able to take the THC or take the marijuana and add heat to it and then expose the THC, I believe, John, is that what you were saying earlier?
Yes, if you heat it up to 150 degrees for 15 minutes, you activate the THC, and that's when you can put it in a brownie, and you can have the effects of the high in the head, but not like smoking, because smoking is a different, you change it to actually a synthetic, which is the point. Like you said, if you do it naturally, you can put it in a tea, warm a tea up, you can put it in a brownie, right? I used to make a tar out of it, and I used to put it in a tea. In fact, you put it into that, you'll have a body high maybe for a day or two.
Yeah. Them body highs are, that's the only problem with them is you can't measure it too much, man.
Right.
You go to sleep on a body high, you gonna wake up on a body high.
Body high.
But I'm telling you, I could use one right now. I'm about to go chew on some gummies for reals because.
But it's really about the education. This is really about the education. This is not about trying to tell anyone to do anything. Right. It's about you should know what you're doing. And I like what the brother said. Know where you're getting your weed from. Who growing that weed? Who's spraying it? Who's putting stuff on it? And if you got a grower, I've had growers that I know personally. You know what they would do for me? They would trim off some of the leaves. As they trim it and give it to me and let me juice it, because I know these growers wasn't putting nothing on it. I used to grow it for the purpose of juicing it. I didn't grow it to bud it, but I grew it for the leaves to juice it. I'm telling you, if you're talking about juicing some marijuana raw, man, that's a different feeling. And like I said, it's very high in antioxidant, repairing your cells. Awesome. It is awesome in that sense.
Man, I mean,
I've heard some nightmares about them gummies, man. People, they eating them like candy, and next thing they know, you so high, they end up having to go to the emergency room. I've heard, a lot of bad stories about that. So I don't know. You just gotta be careful. Like you said, you gotta be careful where you're getting it from and all that. Now in Kentucky, I looked into it a little bit. It's been a while. I don't know if you can educate me on this, John, but as far as legal here in Kentucky,
it's not legal.
No,
like legal. You can't walk around and smoke it.
No, CBD is legal. Yeah, there's growers here with doing the CBD. I'm talking about doing the hemp plant is legal here. This is why you got growers here. This is what Mishan was calling about. I know a white guy that lives across the street out where I stay at. He's a CBD guy. He's a grower. He's putting it into a tincture of an oil. So that's why those tinctures are sold everywhere. Even Rainbow Blossoms got them. Whole Foods got them. You can find that CBD. So you can grow the hemp plant because hemp is high in CBD.
From my understanding, you have to get it from a local person when you're selling it in Kentucky. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There are hemp growers right here in this state, right here in this state. Hemp growers, but not the sativa and not the indica. There's a difference in indica, sativa, and the hemp. They have justified it based on the CBD level. Hemp itself has very little, if any, THC.
Yeah. Only bad thing I heard about, no, it's not even a bad thing about hemp itself, still with the seeds in it. Natural that. A lot of people say it puts them to sleep, and they like the little feeling it gets, but they don't want to go to sleep.
Right, that's the body high. And you remember those little bottles of CBD oils? You remember them, right?
Yeah.
So that's a body, I don't want to call it a high, but when here's the trick about the marijuana. This is very interesting. So check this out. If you eat the marijuana raw, it has its high level of antioxidant. It prevents you from getting sick. Now, if you do have an illness you're working with, tumor, some cancer going on, aches and pains, you can change the marijuana construction into a healing property by heating it up to over 150 degrees for 15 minutes. Now it changes to healing you from something. That makes sense. This is where the tincture comes in, or the oil comes in. The oil had to be heated up in order to get there to heal you of whatever it is you got going on. That's the different components to the plant. If you're growing the plant, you will see that at nighttime, the leaves drop like they're going to sleep. When the sun come up, the leaves rise up and they open up, right? Because and actually you can tell whether it's a female or a male plant. A male plant has two little testicles, like testicles in between the leaf. Like the leaf growing up, that little stem got two little balls, little bitty balls. And if it's a female plant, it's got a little clitoris, like it's split right there, like a vagina. It's very interesting how you can tell the difference. If you take the female plant and you separate it from the male plant, the female plant will grow and it won't produce seeds, but it will produce a higher level of THC by separating the two plants. But back in the day, both plants had seeds in it. Even the male plant produced seeds, but not that many. But the female plant produced a lot of seeds. Back in the day, we used to take them buds and break it open. We see a bunch of seeds drop out. That's a female plant. If it's just one or two seeds, that's a male plant. And that's how they determine the two. Now they're doing something that is totally different. You now got marijuana with all kind of crazy names. Because they are GMOs. They are mixing them together. They are taking a sativa and the indica, and they're upping the spiking the THC level in it and giving it these crazy names, OG Kush, and all these are different strings that came out now of what they're doing. It wasn't that back in the day. So you got to pay attention, like the brother said, where you're getting your weed from. And just because they are a legal grower don't mean they're giving something to you that is healthy for your brain.
Yeah, I guess you definitely got to do some research and figure out what it is that you're consuming. I know that this Delta 8 stuff is,
what is Delta 8?
Delta 8. So now they have real, like, this is THC in gummies versus just the traditional CBD. So the Delta 8 CBD, I'll be honest, don't do much for me. But Delta 8, oh my God, Delta 8 is like it will put you down and lay you out a little bit, just like a regular body high. But again, just like any other food or what have you that you buy out in public, you don't know where or what, you don't know who did what to it and this, that, and the other. I'm a big believer in doing as much myself. So even the gummies that I'm about to go consume here in a minute for my neck, I made those myself. And they little bear shapes and all type of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. They do so much stuff to these products, man, that
it's scary. It's scary.
I'm almost 60, so I'm old school. I don't want something gonna lay me down. You know what I mean? Yeah, unless I'm just totally.
Unless you want to be laid down.
Huh?
I guess unless you want to be laid down.
Hey, if I ever decide to do anything like that again, it's gonna be the mildest possible. And like I said, I'm gonna do it where I'm in the house and I'm not doing anything else. Probably we're watching a scary movie or something. I just can't. When I was at the end of my weed career, I guess you could say, smoking it, I couldn't hardly stand it anymore. I couldn't. That feeling of that high, it just wasn't for me anymore. So I don't know. It's been about 20 years since I even touched the stuff. I kind of want to go back one day, especially when I retire, to just see if I can, get a little something, because I don't know, some people like a little buzz,
Hey, my look, I'm gonna say this, and I know someone that is mutual to all of us, and this brother, he's a IT professional, and at the end of his day, from time to time, he likes to come and eat a little brownie, and he's got a little one hitter. Takes a couple puffs of that, and he eats a brownie, and he's good, you know, and he does that every now and then. But this brother is producing plenty of stuff out there. So again, it goes back to
the key word was every now and then.
Every now and then.
That's the key word, not every day.
For
Every
me,
day again is the addictiveness that you're trying to run from reality. That's the point I'm making. Not every now and then. Every day you trying to escape. That's the problem.
Well, and I'm gonna say some people look when you say every day. Look, what I'm looking at is those that do it 2 to 4 times a day. You got to light up like that right there.
Yeah.
To me is like problematic. I done seen people come home. They done lit up in the morning when they wake up. They done lit up for lunch, and then when they come home, on the way home they lighten up. Right? They driving on the way home, lighten up. Then when they get home, they light up again. And then after they eat, and then after dinner, they light up again. I'm like, God, dog, like how in the world?
I knew people like that, man, and I'm like, man, how can you function doing that? But everybody's different.
Everybody's different.
I don't really care what anybody does, but look, I'm gonna tell you this: when I was smoking weed and smoking cigarettes, when I stopped, I had unexplained money in my pocket. I had money, bro. It was unbelievable. The money that I saved after I stopped fooling with this stuff. Back when I was smoking cigarettes, not trying to change the subject. I think cigarettes are like $3 a day. I ended up adding it up. It got to be about $210, $230 a month. You know, that's a bill. You know, that's an electric bill. That's a water bill or something, you know. But all I'm saying is the money that you spend on that stuff.
If your ass is broke, you have no business smoking, period. But with that said, again, for those of you who do smoke, I encourage you to get over to Health Daddy WLOU. Get your brain formula. Get your brain formula from him. Get that eye bright. I think your brain formula got eye bright in it. Get your go-to cola, right? Get your ginkgo and start repairing your brain. It's very, very important that you repair your brain cells that you are losing while you're smoking. So go to that brother. He's got the herbs, and I'm so glad. I'm so glad this brother don't get high because I buy my herbs from him, right? He ain't over here mixing shit together, all high and shit. So I know he's over. He's got the right product. He's got well packages, right? Yeah. You go over, you will see that brother's at work. When you go into a brother's spot and you see his walls are full of stuff that he made, you know he's doing something. I kid you not. And so when you know he made it by his hand, you know he's professional. He knows what he's doing. So again, get that eye bright, and it's in his brain formula, or is it your eye formula? It's your eye formula. Eye health formula. Yeah, eye health formula, and everything for the eyes is brain health. Understand? Yeah. Get your go-to cola. Start eating cilantro and start eating bitter greens. Just pick a bitter green and just put it in your mouth and just chew on. It ain't gonna kill you. Just chew on some bitter greens. I guarantee you, your neurons in your brain reconnect itself and will redo itself.
You can find so many different ways. One of the things I've always done is find different ways to get stuff in your system, right? So like cilantro. Hey, I chop it up and put it in my salad. You know what I mean? So when I'm eating salads, I throw cilantro in there as any other green or what have you that I have in my salad. You know, definitely any what do you call it, Latino foods or what have you. You know, I definitely chop it up and sprinkle it on there. You know, water, drop it in your water. You know, what you do is you break it up and make sure that you expose the oils on it. Drop it in your water and drink it just the same. And at the end, you can take it and chew it. I do that with basil, fresh basil as well. When it comes to, you know, so you find ways to get these things into your system, like cayenne pepper. I put it in my coffee. You know, when I was drinking the coffee, y'all saw me earlier on the show, I had cayenne pepper in there, cinnamon, ginger, you know, all that type of stuff in there. You do it a few times, and after a while it becomes habit forming. What is it, 21 days? You just need to do something for 21 days, it becomes habit forming. So some of y'all been smoking weed for 21 years.
We got to understand too, like you just said, other cultures put the herb in their food, man. They cook with it. You know, as you mentioned the Mexicans or what have you with cilantro, parsley, and those kind of things. Indian dishes with the curries, the cayenne pepper, the turmeric. You know, they just cook with the food, and I mean with the herbals. And you pay attention to our way of eating. You know, are we using salt, pepper, you know, table salt, and not to be picking on ourselves. But we got to understand, you know, just get it in the foods, as you said. Yeah. You know, it don't have to be that hard. Put it in the soup.
So look, smoke all y'all want, but go to Health Daddy WLOU and get all the counteractive medicinal power medicines that you need, herbs and such that you need from Health Daddy WLOU. Now at least you're putting something back into your body, right. In order to counteract what you're doing, you know.
And for your lungs, go get that mullein leaf.
Mullein
help remove the mucus from the buildup of smoking out of your lungs. It's a great lung.
Do you have that in any of your teas or anything?
Absolutely. I'm gonna say a funny story real quick. I sold mullein leaves, let's say 6-7 years ago, by themselves, right? Nobody bought mullein leaves. Okay, fast forward 5-6 years later, I put it in a formula that has a bunch of mucus fighting herbs in it, and I named it Mucus Eliminator. I can't keep it on the shelves. It's a hell of a product. And to be fair, nobody knew about mullein leaves, you know, back 5-7 years ago. Now it's a big thing. People come in there and ask for it now. Because
you know, all you need is a celebrity to talk about something, and then all of a sudden, you know, niggas is on it. But that's all we need. We need to find a celebrity that we can pay to talk health and wellness, so that niggas will get on it.
Anyway, brothers, I appreciate y'all, man. This was a great show. Again, just dropping some knowledge, just dropping some information for your health, for your brain health. Great topic. A lot of addiction spoke for itself today, I saw. So it's all good. And so we had a great deal. A lot of addiction spoke.
Yeah, a lot of addiction spoke today, baby. Like the way he threw that in, you know.
A lot of.
If you were singing right, today. You heard that.
Yeah. A lot of addiction spoke today, so it's all good. Just listen, repair the brain, keep the brain straight, and try to create. If you are smoking, hoping that you create something new, create something that you never created before, create something that's not here on earth, and bring about your own self into this dimension. And that's what it's all about. It's all about, really, you have something to offer to this humanity that no one else can offer, right? And so are you doing that? Are you actually producing something nobody else has? That's the key. And I would encourage you, get the brain food, and that will help you think better and more clear.
Absolutely.
And I know some of y'all probably done forgot by now, but just rewind, and you can hear all the names of the herbs and everything if you done forgot. But
I gotta get out of here, fellas.
We're gonna see y'all next week. Tipping Point Morning Show. Appreciate y'all, brothers. Love you.
Peace, man.
Well, it's been another beautiful show. We'll see y'all next time.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yah. Right here on WLOU. Stream it live on Facebook and WLOUonline.com. And now, The Tipping Point Show.